Are you ready for more movies in theaters? Are you ready for more monopolies? Are you ready for more James Gunn DC movies? Well, guess what? You get 2 out of the 3. What's up, my rock and rollers? Today we're going to be discussing the recent news, and that's been basically all over Hollywood, and that is how Netflix backed out of the deal to buy Warner Brothers, and now Paramount is set to buy it. If you've been online anywhere in the movie space, entertainment space, you've likely heard of this news. So for those of you who don't know, if you've been living under a rock, so basically Warner Brothers is being sold, one of the biggest legacy studios, and Netflix was the frontrunner for the longest time. I think it was at least a few weeks. It was in the #1 spot. It seemed like it was a done deal. It seemed Netflix was going to win. It eased out Paramount's bid, and Warner Brothers seemed to be happy with it. And then all of a sudden, I think it was, a few weeks ago, Paramount upped their bid to, I think it was like $31 or $32 a share, something like that, I think. So Netflix upped their bid, and Warner Bros. Seemed happy with it. They put out a statement saying, like, hey, we like the bid, and it was like the superior bid, and they gave Netflix, I think, 4 days to respond, and Netflix decided to back out of the deal, and now Paramount is set to buy Warner Bros. And this video is not going to be about all the nitty gritty details financial wise. This is going to be more just a few quick thoughts about my overall opinions and what this means for the entertainment industry going forward. The major thing to keep in mind is this deal is not yet finalized. If Paramount does go through and buy Warner Bros., it would probably finalize, at least a year from now, maybe late 2026, early 2027, somewhere in that time frame. That could change. Like I said, Netflix seems pretty sure it was gonna buy it, but look what happened. So we don't know, but as of right now, it looks like it's a pretty much done deal, if I say so myself. So it's still a little ways away before it's finalized. We got some time. I honestly don't know where to start with, to be honest, but I think I'll just say firstly, this is the lesser of the two evils, because look, let's face it, the best option would be Warner Bros. Not be sold, it stays operating. Maybe they slim down somehow. I don't know how. Maybe they fire all the useless people, these HR people, the activist groups that have infiltrated every studio. They fire them, or if they find a way to cut the budget slow, just something. That would be the best option, but that's not happening. It is what it is. And between Paramount and Netflix, yeah, I would choose Paramount. For one, at least Paramount is another studio. It's not just a streamer like Netflix was. If Netflix was gonna buy it, I think the original plan was to keep the broadcast stuff separate, or just get rid of it entirely, because they have no need for it. Paramount at least is another studio, and it's also another broadcast. It owns all the networks, and which we're going to talk about in a little bit. So yeah, Paramount is the lesser two evils, but it's still a very, very bad option for the industry in general. With that, let's jump into some of the stuff Paramount will now own once this deal is finalized, which I have a list of it here. So once the deal finalizes, Paramount will own, I'll pull this up on the screen and read them all, a lot. So this was a chart I found. So David Ellison, the Ellison family, who obviously owns Paramount, they own Skydance, they bought Paramount. Once the deal goes through, it's a done deal. Warner Bros. Is sold. This is what Paramount and the Ellisons will own. So for companies, networks, and channels, they will own Skydance, TikTok, Fandango, Rotten Tomatoes, DC Studios, Oracle, HBO, CNN, CBS, Showtime, TBS, Comedy Central, TNT, Paramount Plus, TLC, HGTV, Nickelodeon, B&R, don't know what that is, another network, Cartoon Network, Animal Planet, CBS Sports, Adult Swim, HBO Max, Boomerang, Cinemax, I didn't know Cinemax was in there, Cooking Channel, Pluto TV, Discovery Channel, Food Network, Science Channel, CW, Travel Channel, BET Stars, MTV, and VH1. Damn, that's a lot. Now for some franchises they will own, that would be Harry Potter, Mad Max, The Conjuring. Wait, this is Conjuring on here twice. Conjuring Universe and The Conjuring. Anyway, let's just recap. So Harry Potter, Mad Max, The Conjuring Universe, The Conjuring, The Matrix, It, Lord of the Rings, Gremlins, Mission Impossible, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Game of Thrones, True Detective, Sopranos, The Wires, Mortal Kombat, Transformers. They have multiple DC heroes on here. I would just say DC in general. That's it. Flash, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Joker, yeah. Let's see. Dexter, Yellowstone, Star Trek, A Quiet Place, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Paranormal Activity, Cloverfield, G.I. Joe, is that Rugrats, I think? Yes, that's Rugrats, Avatar The Last Airbender, Garfield, Jimmy Neutron, Blue's Clues, Sonic the Hedgehog, Top Gun, Scooby-Doo, SpongeBob SquarePants, Jackass, oh, I didn't know Jackass, Looney Tunes, Dora the Explorer, and what's that last one? I think that's Fairly Odd Parents. Is what the last one is. It looks like it. And another one that's on here that's it's not on here. And that is like the whole like Godzilla, Kong, Monsterverse, those type of movies. So they're on here as well. So yeah, guys, that is a lot for one studio to own. And keep in mind, for ones like like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, they don't outright own them. They just own the distribution rights. Obviously, J.K. Rowling owns Harry Potter, and the Tolkien estate owns Lord of the Rings. Paramount will just own the distribution rights, but I think those are the only two. Let me look at the list again. I think everyone else, Transformers is owned by Hasbro, obviously. I think everything else they just will outright own. Obviously, I think Game of Thrones is owned by George R.R. Martin, so they have the distribution rights for that as well. But basically, they own a lot of shit now. We also got new details that Paramount have released on what will happen to the two studios once the deal merges, and that is, let me bring up the details. So this is per Paramount. This could change. This is just what they come out with publicly. That is, HBO Max and Paramount Plus will be combined into one service. 15 films per studio with a 45-day theatrical window for each film. Merged company will have approximately $79 billion in debt. Dude, Jesus Christ. $6 billion in cost cutting, including consolidation on tech infrastructure, real estate, corporate overheads. Yeah, more, okay. No plans to sell off or spin off any of their cable assets. Flexibility to put sports like UFC on any cable and network. Okay, that's interesting. We'll continue to license movies and TV shows to other studios and platforms, and AI will be used as a tool for artists, but never a replacement for storytellers. The one thing that stands out to me is the HBO Max and Paramount Plus merging into one streaming service, which I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest, because let's face it, HBO is their quality has gone down in recent years, but it's still a huge, recognizable name that people know and they associate with good production. To just get rid of that name altogether and merge it into Paramount Plus, it seems kind of pointless to me. They should, either keep it separate or do, I don't know, what, HBO, Paramount, that kind of doesn't sound right, but I think they need to keep that HBO name on there. If I was running it, that's what I would do. One thing is not mentioned on this list is what they plan to do with CNN, which, if it was up to me, I just hope they just burn it to the fucking ground. We don't need that network anymore. That, or they just completely overhaul it and just rebuild it from the ground up. Either option works, but as is right now, it has to go. Another negative I can think about is the 45-day theatrical window. I know, when Disney bought Fox Studios, 20th Century Fox, for instance, a few years ago, the number of studios released per film on, if you combine all the studios and put them together, and the number of releases total, it shrunk because there's one less studio. And they say now 15 per studio, which I think is about right, but I think it's gonna be a little bit less because, like I just mentioned, it happened with Fox. Why would it not happen here? So that's one thing to keep in mind. Another thing is the 45-day theatrical window. That's just, like a month and a half. That's not a lot of time. If there's a movie out that you really want to see, and a lot of theaters now just aren't playing showings, which I've noticed. For some movies, it's either at a weird time or it's, the showing's just not playing at all in theaters near me anyway. So for 45 days, it's a month and a half, but people are busy, they got jobs, careers and all that, family. That's not a lot of time. 90 days, that's 3 months. That's plenty of time. It was 90 days for forever. That's been forever the case, and it worked out great. It's only in recent years that they've cut down to 45 and they've started having all these problems come up. So I think we need to bring back the 90-day theatrical window, and I think that's just the perfect amount of time for someone to go out there and see it. So I wish it was 90, but 45 days, it's better than a month, I will say that, but it's still bad. Another thing I want to bring up is, because I know people are going to talk about it in the comments, what's going to happen with the whole DC universe and James Gunn? And I think that motherfucker is gone. And let's see, they haven't said anything about Gunn, I think, in any of the other statements. Let's just be honest, this whole DC reboot thing, has not gone according to plan to Warner Brothers. I mean, Superman, it didn't flop, but it wasn't a success either. It was just like, eh. And everything else since then has been downhill every single time. So you can tell, I know Warner Bros. They haven't said anything, but yeah, you can tell it's gone. It's gonna be gone. Didn't the Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos testify before Congress that Superman didn't perform as they hoped?
And will this be a fully exclusive 45-day theatrical window?
Fully exclusive to theaters, yes.
And will this be self-enforced? In other words, if you fall short of that?
That is the industry. It is the industry standard for self-enforcement. However, routinely, movies that underperform, the window moves a little bit. And Superman was a little shorter window, and Sinners was a little longer window, but they still could refer to it as a 45-day window.
Dude's a lot. I know, it said on oath in front of Congress, yo, this movie shit. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I think what needs to happen with DC is what I also think needs to happen with Star Trek. It won't happen, but what it needs to happen is just both franchises need to be put on ice. Just give it a few years, maybe 5, 10, let it rest, get a new team in, let the public kind of reset. It's like DC, they've rebooted Superman, 3 times in the last 20 years? Even more if you count the TV shows. We got Brandon Routh, Henry Cavill, what was the guy's name? The Tyler dude on the show. Now we have David Cornsmith. Give it a rest, man. Just calm down. Just slow down. Another thing people want to bring up with James Gunn is how he feels about Trump, which, I'm not going to judge him. He has his own opinions, but we know he doesn't like him or Republicans in general, or just anybody that doesn't think like him. So with Ellison being, close with Trump, I don't know how Gunn's going to react. There's rumors that he's either going to be fired or he's going to walk himself. I don't know what his contract is, but I do think if this deal finalizes end of 2026, tomorrow Superman 2 comes out July 2027, so maybe that's the end of his contract. We don't know. He's never seen anything publicly, but bottom line is we all know James Gunn is pretty much done. One last thing I want to talk about is I don't want to bring in the political thing, but you kind of have to on both sides, and I think both sides are overreacting. So on the right, they're like, yeah, we're gonna get masculine MAGA movies finally, yeah, which no, Ellison does, he is buddies with Trump, but he is not that. We're not gonna get buff ripped men saving women. We're not gonna get that. Paramount is still, keep in mind, Paramount is still the studio that has Starfleet Academy on air, and it's the same studio that let Taylor Sheridan walk to Universal. And as we know, Sheridan is the only thing keeping that network afloat, and they just let him walk. So I don't even know if Ellison's really that, gun-ho about movies. He seems to be at the surface level, so we'll have to wait and see, but it's not going to be this, renaissance of masculinity. And from the left, there's, I've seen posts freaking out oh, it's going to be MAGA studio, we're going to get all the stuff we don't like, which, again, calm down. Nothing's going to change, really. I don't think anything will change. I wish there was a studio that came in and just made, masculine, high fantasy with, masculine men, feminine women, but, it's what we need, but it's not going to happen, sadly. So, yeah, both sides overreacting. Just everybody calm down. It's going to pretty much operate. I think it's the same. It's just one less studio, which is unfortunate. At the end of the day, this news is sad. It is a sad time for Hollywood because it is one studio, a legacy, well-known studio, at that, losing. So we're losing one studio, and yeah, that's bad. That's not good. One thing is that jobs will be lost. I think they mentioned consolidating. Yeah, you don't need double of the same job, so there's going to be hundreds of jobs, probably thousands of jobs lost, which on one hand, yeah, people lose their jobs, which I feel that sucks. But if it's these activists, woke type people, then yeah, just get rid of them. We don't need them. The people that have been causing all these problems, yeah, get rid of them. Bottom line is this is a dark time for Hollywood. And it looks like Hollywood is slowly, slipping into obscurity. And it will probably never reach the heights it was at one point. But the more important, more important statement is, what are your guys' thoughts? Do you agree with Paramount buying Warner Bros? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Please like this video, subscribe, and comment below and tell me your thoughts on the matter.